Hello, hello.
And we're going to do a live enlightened conversation podcast here. I'm going to share this into a group so I can see it too. Then we will begin. You guys have had a little heat wave in California, I heard. At least my mom did. My mom's in Northern California.
It's been warm. I love it though. So for me, it's great.
Yeah, you won't hear me ever complain about the heat, hence why I moved to Miami. You don't move to Miami and complain about warm weather. That's not the
And I
wisest.
think, if for this, this has been a horrible epidemic, but it happened during spring. I'm just so grateful for the flowers and the nice weather so we can get outside and appreciate nature in a comfortable way when it's not too hot and not too cold and all the flowers are blooming. So it's nice.
Yeah. Oh, I just realized. Okay, last bit of technology. I just realized that the people on the Facebook world can't hear you. Only I can, but I'm changing that now.
Okay.
1 second. Okay. I'm not a pro with technology, but I'm good at using everything that I use for all this stuff.
As you can see by my lighting, I'm waiting. I ordered lighting and it is not here yet. So we're all in a whole new world.
Natural lighting's always the best. All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Record. All right. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Excited for today and have an awesome guest with us that is out of my old city where I lived before I am now, out in Los Angeles. And we have intuitive Reiki healer Kindall, and she also does oracle reading and some other cool things. I discovered her on. Did I just randomly discover your Instagram page? I can never remember how I discover people, but yes, discovered her Instagram page, and we have mutual friends. That's what it was. You told me that we knew some of the same humans, which was cool. Back in Cabo Cantina days, I remember well, in Venice Beach.
Exactly. Crazy little place and made the best of friends. So
I had some good times there. Taco Tuesday. You guys.
Whole different kind of healing was going on there.
Yeah,
big margaritas and all that.
There were many nights where I was the source of just like calm and peace after my ex-girlfriend came home from working a Taco Tuesday there. Like
she worked there.
She would call me sometimes from you guys' bathroom saying, "Noel, like this is going on out here. Like this is insane. Like come get me. Like can you just leave?"
So imagine doing this kind of work and then being in that environment at the same time and trying to just go, what is going on with life? Sometimes I think I get put in those environments just to sort of even out the energy a little bit, balance it out. So
yeah,
so that was always an interesting thing.
The contrast of life. You get both ends of the spectrum for sure. So the audience knows. So before we just have too much fun talking about all these things, so that they know who we have here with us. If you could share who you are and what you do, why you do it, all these good things.
Oh well, hello. I'm Kindall Collins. I started this journey as a Reiki healer primarily. That was the first kind of step into it. And then I studied something called IET, which is integrated energy therapy. Reiki is a Japanese modality from the 20th century, and IET is an American modality that works on a different realm. It's the angelic realm. So what was interesting is working on clients using the Reiki, then bringing in the IET and asking if they noticed a difference, and they really did. There was like a subtle energy shift. The IET seemed very like a light angelic energy, and the Reiki really kind of went in deep to start moving things around and shifting and releasing. And then what kind of happened after working for many years, I started in 2007, was I started realizing as I was working on people and having my hands, it's a very light laying of the hands modality, energy healing. I was starting to pick up information, and it's an interesting, to call it psychic or clairvoyancy is, that's a whole interesting topic in and of itself. But I was noticing that I was getting messages. Is it from the divine? Is it from, I kind of feel like I'm reading the energy of the matrix for people. And I started getting these messages. So I would say to them, hey, an example might be I would be doing Reiki on their feet or their ankles. And I noticed it first started by in the lower part of people's bodies. I could feel sports or dance or any physical movement that their body was used to them doing. And I would see it. I would just get a symbol of them in that movement. And I'd say, hey, were you ever a ballerina? Were you ever a basketball player? Were you, and these adults are saying, yeah, I used to do that. Maybe when they were a teenager, or maybe when they were in college, or maybe as a kid. And I noticed that it was so ingrained in their energy to do this thing that brought them joy. And I would, I didn't know that they did it. So I was like, wait, I'm getting messages from someone's energy field that they need to hear. And from that, it progressed from there into channeling, 5 pages of information about a client before I've even met them. So I would start writing that information down, unedited, and just when they walk through the door, go, hey, I kind of know what's going on with you, and just really give them this information that I'm getting that helps them break the blocks, become free to live their best life. And it's been really a pleasure for me to use both of those modalities and gifts together to help people really heal and just come to awareness about what might be in their way, whether it's conditioning, patterning, socialization from their history, and what they can do to make these subtle shifts. And so that's a little bit about what I do. And I use the oracle cards and now tarot. I've incorporated in sound bowls, just to add more layers of more specific information for people or healing even on deeper levels. So kind of all ties together.
Super, super interesting. Sure people are quite blown away when you have pages of channeled material ready for them when they come see you.
Books of like just lives, and it's really fascinating to see. And it's great for me because I can go back with a client and go, this is how far you've come, or look at where you were in, December of 2012 or something, and to see how you've expanded or where you're repeating these patterns in your life. So it's super exciting.
I love it. I love it. It's fun when we hear things that maybe out there listening right now, if you're live or if you hear this, when it's out on Spotify and iTunes and all these places, you may hear things for the first time. Like maybe you've never known that it was possible for someone to be able to, channel, write out pages for a client coming in. And I love opening up new awareness and new possibility for human beings, because what I know about life is we have universal laws, and then everything else is possibility. And so if we can allow ourselves to be open to possibility, and, typically it's just things that are, useful for us, maybe seeds will be planted, and then we can, have something that helps us on our journey. But I'm always like, it's fun living life open to all possibilities, because then I'm not restricted to what my little tiny fraction of a fraction of a fraction version of the world is, because it's just so much more that none of us will ever know all the secrets of the universe. So I love that.
It's so true that you say that about being open. There's 2 aspects of that sort of excite me, and one is when I decided, like, okay, I want to have this already ready for my clients, like all this information I'm seeing in their energy. I spend about an hour before they come just meditating on their energy, so I have this to give them, to say, hey, I see you before you walk in the door. People might be used to traditional therapy or counseling or talking to friends, and they have to unload all of this information. It's like, hey, I got it already. And then I tell them, and they're like, you already know. And it's so fascinating to me, because I need to be open to even, how is this even happening? What am I tapping into? And that's so exciting to know. We kind of all have these gifts that we just have to have the courage to trust our intuition, to trust what I'm writing down is something that's true for this person, and having the faith and openness to say, I'm seeing this in your energy. Does that make sense to you? And it sounds so out there, but it's just been fascinating to see that it really can work, and that it's truthful. And also I love that doing that before I get into the energy healing, like you use the word open. When someone's walking through the door to get a healing from someone, or having someone facilitate their own healing, because ultimately that's what you're doing, you're healing yourself. They don't know me. I'm a stranger. They don't, your clients don't know you really. I mean, some of them do, and the repeat clients. But when you have that time to talk to someone before you go into doing energy healing. They see who you are. You start developing a reciprocity, a rapport, a trust. So when they're handing over their selves for me to do energy work, they become more open. And I love that because then after that hour we spend talking, they can really receive that energy. And I think that needs to happen between healers and clients is really to develop that trust between one another. Especially if they're just finding you on Yelp or like you said, have heard about this for the first time. Really respecting your client, but this could be something very new for them.
Absolutely. You just inspired me to share something that anybody out there, this can help you with trust. And at the same time, just a great reminder for all of us that, especially when Kindall, you just highlighted there that all of us have these gifts, and we can choose to allow them to evolve and express them. And what's cool about life and sharing a planet with 7.7 billion other humans is all of us are attracted to different parts of the human experience. And so the parts that right now that you're, flowing out of you are things that, your soul came down here and knew that this was going to be a part of your life experience. And it's turned into a passion for you and a joy for you to do this. And yes, all of us out there can, if you decided that you wanted to allow this part of life that you see Kindall expressing, if you wanted that to evolve for you, you could. That might not be something though that is like a super, excitement, or might not be like drawn to that. So it's unlikely that you'll really put a lot of attention and energy on it to allow it to evolve, because it's really just practicing. Whenever we have any type of what we would call gift, we have to spend time and energy and to practice to let it evolve. But I love that you point that out, and I love when people point out that we all have these gifts, because I like to say, there's no special breed of human where only they're capable of, feeling, happy or joyful or loving or sad and depressed and, angry. Like this is all part of the human experience, all the energy, all the frequencies that we embody while we're here. But when it comes to trust, when we can realize that because of what I just said, that there are no special breed of human, we're all just different expressions of the same non-physical energy, whatever you want to call that out there, God, universe, love, all that is, source, spirit, infinite intelligence, nature, whatever you relate to, whatever resonates. We realize that Kindall is just a different expression of me. You're just a different expression of me out there. I'm just a different expression of you, and we're all here, playing in this physical, this physical avatar that we have. And I call mine Noel. You call yours Kindall. So we could just use each other as inspiration, and be excited to co-create with each other. And we can trust that if someone is doing anything inside of their passion, and you can feel that how much Kindall enjoys. Like, you only sit there and channel something pages for clients when you actually care and you actually want to empower them. She could have easily left that part out and just went into it and knew she could connect with the energy, but it's obviously like she cares. So whenever you're connecting with anyone out there doing anything and they're passionate about it, a passionate energy is connected with the divine. So you can trust like you're getting the full version of you through them that will allow you to be able to expand. So that was awesome. I love being able to share that.
It's so true. The word psychic and clairvoyancy, it's like I'm even almost like I'm shy to even sometimes talk about it. But it's helped so many people, and it brings me, like you said, so much joy and passion. I think just something fun to say if people are curious. Like, people always go, "How did you know that?" Like, I'll see marriages before they happen, or babies being born, what the child will look like. I mean, any typical psychic thing. And the psychic aspect or the clairvoyant aspect just came, and I couldn't deny it because it felt like I had to share that with people. It wasn't what I set out to do. But sometimes just for fun, because you have your listeners here, people say, "How do you do it?" or "How do you train your mind?" And like you said, anything is if you have a passion for it, if you're interested, but it's a muscle really. And I'm not great at math, but I know if I put my mind to it, I could do it. And for me, I think the biggest thing with trusting your intuition or becoming sort of psychic within yourself, like knowing the right thing to do, is really trusting. If you hear something that feels divine, or you hear that voice that is yourself, but it's something higher, whether it's your higher self or your angels, whatever you believe in, God, to trust it, really trust it. Don't start second guessing. Because if I have clients that are coming to see me and paying money and trusting me, and I didn't trust the 5 pages of information that I got from, I can't even explain where, then I have complete confidence in my intuition and in my intention, we wouldn't have anything to talk about. It's a real courage to say, I'm going to believe in my intuition, I'm going to believe in my intentions, and move from that space. And that's how you can kind of start seeing, seeing things ahead for your own life and for yourself. Really trusting and having the courage to trust your intuition, because we already know. A lot of my clients will already know the answers. You know them. It's just really starting to trust yourself. And I also know, I want to let you speak, but I've noticed with a lot of my clients is having permission and giving yourself permission to have those insights, to have that intuition, to have joy, happiness, love, romance in your life. And we're so ingrained in needing permission from our teachers, our parents, our principals, our coaches, our bosses to do anything in life. I notice that when people come to me, I make a point to say, you have permission to be happy in your life. You have permission to ask for what you need in your relationship. And things just shift. They're like, oh my God. It's almost like the floodgates open. It's a different perspective. So anyway.
I love that. I love that so much. Then you don't need any permission to speak for as long as you want for me. Like that's why I've attracted you here, so that you can flow out all this beautiful energy. Don't worry. Everything that you say will inspire me to share things, and I will. That's why. Okay. So I make sure to call this like a conversation, and people don't think it's like a rigid interview where I'm just going to be asking only questions and not sharing. Like you've already seen, like you will inspire me everything that you share. I love it. So my question for you, and I'm always, because whenever we're sharing like this powerful energy, and what you said about intention is so important. And for you guys out there, like when I'm doing these podcasts, the only intention that I have is to have as much fun with Kindall as humanly possible, because neither of us knew each other existed like a week ago or 2 weeks ago or whenever it was. So it's just fun, a conversation that I would want to have with her anyway, and just see where it flows. And then also to empower the listener, whoever's attracted to this information, whether it's right now live or a couple weeks from now or 100 years from now, as the internet lives on. So it's just fun to just see, with that intention, to just see where it goes. Like I never have any notes. I really spend very little time on the guest page as far as what you guys are already doing. I want to ask you questions from a place of, I don't know anything about you. I know what your title is as far as what you do, and the things that you're sharing. I can feel the vibration of those, which is why I wanted to have the conversation, because I knew we'd play in that fun energy. But beyond that, it's just more just intention, and then just allow life to flow from that connected place of who all of us truly are. And I love that you highlighted that. For you, like, when did the light bulb come on? Because I'm always curious. Like, we see these versions of ourselves, and we're playing here in the now. And for most humans, we all come here as unconditional, loving little babies, and we're just looking at the world just through who we truly are. And then as we get a little older, a lot of us start comparing ourselves to other humans and wondering if we're enough, and thinking like, are they better looking than us? Why are they taller than us? Why are they blah blah blah? And then it's my powerful intent to help the light bulb come on for anyone that maybe has still forgotten who they truly are, because once we remember, you can't unremember that as an adult, and now it's just an ongoing process of evolution on purpose. For you, how did your life evolve in that area? And then did you already always know all the stuff that you're sharing now?
Well, I think I want to attach two things that we were kind of on that roll with intention, and then it kind of moves into how I got to this point. My intention today, I used to be someone who would interview people. So to be interviewed is so interesting, and it brought up sort of like a shyness and nervousness. And so I had to immediately get to, well, what is your intention? And when you get to your intention in situations, whether it's a relationship or, getting on stage or whatever, it's you lock into that intention, a job interview or whatever, and you have a solid intention. Those nerves calm, and you get to what the truth is. And I just kind of said to myself, if one person gains one nugget of information that helps them in their life, you and I have done something. We've put that ripple in the pond, and that moves out forward to others. And so that brought me to, as you kept talking, I was on an audition. I'm an actress as well. And the guy didn't have me do my scene. He said, what's important to you in your life? And I said, and he said, why do you want to be famous? And this was as an actress. And I said, well, I don't know that I necessarily need to be famous, but I want to be on a platform so that I can help people, because I had been working for a celebrity, and I noticed that he would get, inundated with how he could help in society because he had a celebrity. And this man just looked at me and he goes, what makes you think you can't start now making a difference? And it was like, okay, is that worthiness thing coming up again? We are all worthy enough to make a difference now. Like, Gandhi, be the change you see in the world, or who you want to see in the world. And that was sort of a light bulb moment, that stuck with me. Wow, I do have a voice. I do have the ability to make a difference. I don't have to be a celebrity. I don't have to be one of these, a Tony Robbins to make a difference. So I think that sat with me internally along my path, but I didn't know how I was going to go about it. Do I donate to a charity? Do I volunteer? What is my way? And I think when you start thinking these thoughts, the universe starts putting things in your path, which I can get to how that happened. But to go into my childhood, I recently wrote an article called Spiritual Mutt, actually, for lack of a better term. My mother's Catholic, my father's Jewish, by family. My mother wound up following one thing. My father's kind of very just open, which is amazing. They had baptized me Unitarian, which means believe what you want to believe, which I thought was so beautiful for this couple at a very young age that had different religions within their family to allow their child to be a religion. That means be whatever you want. But and I remember because my mother was Catholic at a very young age, we would still go to church for Easter or Christmas. And I remember looking at her one day and just saying, why can't I just pray in my heart? And I think, so at that point, as a very young child, I kind of felt myself going out of my body and like looking down at myself, like, how are you having these oddly profound ideas as a child? So I think I always was very interested in curiosity. And I remember someone saying, if you were in a beauty pageant, what would you say? And I would be like, I just want world peace, So there was this feeling, even as a child, that we have so much power within us, our spirituality, our divinity, our ability to be peaceful. And I was a very sensitive child. My mother had all my teachers at school they would write down the behavior that stuck out for every teacher. And she kept it and gave it to me. And every single teacher wrote sensitive. So I think it was just ingrained in me at a very young age. I remember my mother came home she was taking night classes. And one night she goes, Kindall, I was probably like 8. And she said, you'll never guess what was behind me in class. And I go, I know, Mama, it was a poodle. I could just see the poodle sitting behind her in class. And that was my first thing, okay, there's this ability, this, whatever you want to call it, that you can tap into, whether it's frequency, brainwaves, and it was so undeniable, was that trusting that intuition. It was a poodle. She's like, it was a poodle, So it's I think that it's part of you, and you start putting these things together. And then as an adult, having that casting director say that, and then at another point in my life, a friend said, I was bartending, and a friend said, you shouldn't just be bartending. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I did it for years, and I'll still do it. But she's like, there's something else about you that the world needs to see. She goes, why don't you do Reiki? And I didn't even know what it was. Turned out my mother had been a Reiki master. I didn't even realize. It was sort of in my genealogy. And I remember I had like a $300 check sitting there to take this initial training. And I was so, at the time, scared to spend money on anything. And I finally just went, I can't not do this anymore. And I, went and took the class, and then everything sort of shifted. I mean, once I was attuned to the Reiki energy, synchronicities started happening. My life felt more in alignment. I, was meeting people. It was leading to trips around the world. I mean, things were just really opening up. And it was like, okay, there's something on this path, to follow. So that's.
I love it. I love it so much. Anytime we can remind people, Kindall, that how you just described your journey, and if any of us were to sit in this chair, or you're in front of me, or I'm in front of you, and we're discussing our journeys, it would sound something like this, where things happen where maybe not necessarily, maybe you didn't have the experience of knowing there was a poodle behind your mom. That's a cool part of, obviously that's a part of Kindall's path, where it's just a gift that was, more pronounced at an earlier, age, which is really cool. But what she described as far as the casting director and, the synchronicities of, the Reiki class and all of these things, this is stuff that for all of us, the things that we're doing right now in our life, there's things going on that we're not even aware that we'll be utilizing, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And we can look back and be like, oh, that thing that we didn't think had any meaning, and maybe it was a rough part of our life, or we didn't enjoy it so much. Now we're using elements from that. There's lessons that we learned from there. We're putting that into what we're creating now. And it all happens synchronistically and perfect timing. I've really learned, which used to be my greatest weakness, to stay off the hows, the whens, the wheres, the whos. These are anxiety builders for all of us if we allow ourselves to get stuck in those, trying to figure out the synchronicities, which none of us have ever been able to do. And so it's just, it's cool when we can just allow and trust and actually treat life like it's an adventure, like it's a movie where we're the star, and we get to co-star with awesome humans like Kindall, and with all 7.7 billion humans, we're all co-stars in this, and we're on the scene that we're on right now. And the only thing that we really control is what energy am I going to bring to the scene? Am I going to bring an energy of being at peace? Am I going to bring an energy of being happy, excited, joyful, passionate, loving? Or am I going to bring an energy of being upset or angry or rageful or anxious? And I'm not saying you should or shouldn't bring whatever energy to the scene, but all that we really need to know is that whatever energy we do bring to the scene is what's going to determine what that scene looks like on the screen. And I love that you're an actor, because it's just fun I love this analogy of the movie. So if you want more dramatic scenes, cool. Just leave your house like in a really upset, angry, rageful mood, and like be having thoughts of that and words of that and actions of that. It'd be a very dramatic day on your screen called life. So I don't know where any of that came from. It just wanted to come out because you said movie, you said actress.
Well, we've had also this time to sort of, some of us are still working, which is lovely, and all the nurses and doctors, they've been working around the clock, and we're so grateful for them. And there have been a lot of us that have had the time to be quiet and listen and think of how we want to move forward in our life. And before this started, like I said, I wanted to have one sort of intention, and I was like, well, what if this would help? And I pulled one card, and it said, every morning we're born again. What I do today matters most. And I think that is really cool, because like you said, every day you can choose that emotion to be in. You really have the choice. And I've been going back sort of like, I thought of sort of a thing that would be fun to do as like a little summer reading list for people that we used to get when we were kids, of books that I've been reading. And a lot of the books that I've been reading, I'm revisiting. They're old books. So many things have come out about the kinds of things that we're talking about. And some of the books that have the best information were some of the like OG books that were coming out, this has been going on forever, this kind of work, but I've been reading Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting, and E Squared by Pam Grout, and rewatched The Secret, and what is another one? The Four Agreements, Mastery of Love, Paulo Coelho, and in Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting, which is an older book. It might have been written in the late 90s, but it really talks about getting into that feeling of what you really want to create, and then letting it go. Really knowing that you don't have to know the how or the why. If you say, this is what I really want, and I want to create it with so much enthusiasm, and then you sort of let go of the outcome, it can happen. And it was so interesting as I'm really working that muscle, because I do believe it's a muscle, is that, and the hardest part is the letting go, and the needing to know how it's going to happen, or when it's going to go happen, or what you have to do to make it happen. And I don't mean that we don't have to have effort in our life. We do. But when we really come from that feeling space of creating and letting go, I've seen magic happen. Even yesterday I was on a hike, and I was like, told my friend, I said, we're going to see a bunny today. And yeah, you're going to see bunnies in nature. Like, what about, okay, it happens. But lately I've been wanting to see them. And literally we went on this whole hike, and I was like, I'm going to see a bunny. I put it out, I let it go. Sure enough, this Peter Cottontail right in the middle of our trail. And I was just like, I took the longest video of it. I'm like, that is the power of manifestation. And sometimes if you start really small with something like a bunny or a cup of coffee, and it happens, you have to acknowledge it and then think bigger, the next thing that you want to create in your life, and let go of that. How is it going to happen? Just really let that go. And so that's why it was really interesting that you brought that up.
Yeah, no, you just gave me a perfect, like an alley-oop, so I could help the audience right now, because what Kindall just
served you
is perfect.
Ball,
like
right?
a spike bump for whatever sport we're playing, you just did a great assist. For the audience out there, that the most challenging part for us as human beings is that letting go part, because even though you can become aware of all these things and have all this knowledge and be excited to manifest, watch The Secret, all of these things, and as you're starting to embody the frequency that you want to see, whatever you want to see in your life, whether it be health, relationships, financial, whatever it is, and you start to be that frequency, be that energy now, yes, you will start to see life shift. The challenge is we still are looking at what's already physically manifested, and most of our attention as human beings goes to what we can see around us. So maybe you're excited to manifest financial abundance out there, and then you check your online bank account and you're like, shit, it's not there yet. So now your energy is different. Like, it's like more in a lack of having the abundance. And so this is with all areas. Like, for people that have health goals, you you're excited, you're moving on the path, and you're still looking in the mirror and you're like, damn, I don't see the change yet. And like you're starting to doubt, you're not able to trust. And so, I mean, that's the biggest thing. If we can be excited for whatever it is that we want to see physically manifest, and again, not have to worry about how it's going to happen, when, who it's going to be, if you want a relationship, whatever it is, and just be able to live in the moment is what helps me so much, because I know that the way to physically manifest anything is going to be from, what can I do with what I have from where I am right now, so I can control my energy right here and now. Like that's the first thing and most important thing. And then that's going to inspire thoughts, words, actions, ideas. And then I'm going to put that into this moment, and this moment, and this moment. And that's the only way that we can physically manifest anything, is starting in the moment we're in and then continuing to put energy and attention on whatever it is that we want to see, and put energy on anything long enough, it'll physically manifest. So if we can have a desire for something and at the same time, like, not need it in order to feel the energy of it, to embody that, if we can just like, oh, I'm excited for this for sure. It doesn't matter to me when it comes or how it comes. Like I know it's coming. Like it's all good. And then just get back to living in the moment. Then the floodgates can open, and momentum can start to show us the physical manifestations where you're looking in the mirror and you see the body that you're starting to want. You're like, ooh, now I'm seeing results. Now that's the easy part. When you see the results, when you see the money start flowing in, now it's just like you put more attention on it, and then it continues to increase in momentum. So I love that.
I agree with you. I think that you kind of you hit the ball back over to me, and I feel like that really kind of highlights patience. Patience is such a big part of it, and for me, patience is for me personally, it's like I know how to do all these things, and when it doesn't happen, we reach that point where we can get back into that lower vibration, like it's not happening. Or that's when we really have to. That's that muscle of nope. Okay, I'm going to wallow in this frustration for a minute, but the quicker you can get out of it, pull yourself out of it. Start being aware when you start giving up on this dream you've created, and go, nope, I'm giving it over to the universe. Let go, let God. Immediately, quickly get out of that negativity. Get moving back. Do whatever you can to refocus your energy onto something positive to keep that high vibration going. Or you might have a relationship in your life and you're asking for it. I really want this great relationship, and then you break up, and you're like, what the heck just happened here? I am focusing on this great thing. We don't know what's around the corner. And having that faith is the hardest part. And I've told clients that are just crying about a relationship, and I'll already see someone in their future for them that just seems so different and so much better. But in that moment, you have to honor their sadness where they're at, like you said, in the moment. But I will say to them, imagine if you had $5,000 in your purse right now, and I went over and I took it away, and you went down to your car, and you realized you were walking down your car, and you look in your purse, and you're like, she took $5,000 from me. And you get all hysterical. And then you get down to your car, and someone had filled your car with $10 million. And you have that now. 2 minutes ago, you were crying about $5,000. Now you have $10 million. And we do that with our relationships, with our jobs. When we lose a job, when you lose a relationship, we think, oh my God, I'm trying to create something better, and it all fell apart. Well, sometimes things fall apart right before they get even bigger. When you're asking for things to come in that are magnificent, big dreams come with big risks. To get there, sometimes you have to go through that risk or that challenge, and then all of a sudden, if you stay in that high frequency, you stay in that belief, you stay in your integrity, I always say cream rises to the top, you will get through. It's that Thomas Edison, it was like how many times you fail before you finally got there. So it's just finding patience along the road, I think is so important for all of us, because that's the biggest challenge to me. It's just like you said, to keep in that, oh, how much longer do I have to keep in a good mood? But being in a good mood feels way better than being in a bad mood, So anyway.
So funny. There's definitely someone in the audience that when you gave that analogy, which is beautiful, about the purse and then the car being filled with money, somebody was like, where do they park? Like, I want to go put my car there. It's like, we're always trying to figure it out. And the patience element is so important, because we're like, well, we want the instant manifestation. We're like, where do they park the car? Do I have to leave the door unlocked, or do I leave the key? What did they do exactly? So I have
That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
So being in the not as much money, or being in that and staying in that. I have an intention to be wealthy. I have an intention to be loved, man. That is my goal. When you look at Olympic athletes that are winning at their game, that is their intention. You see the champions of life, the Muhammad Ali's, the Martin Luther King, Gandhi. These are people that have one vision. Not that we can't have one vision of a million different things we want, but they're passionate. They are locked in. They have complete belief. And then you see what can happen, from that just belief that, no, I don't care what's being thrown at me. This is where I'm going. And if you're not going with me on that train, get off. You know, the naysayers, the whatever. Get off my train then. Because we deal with that too. People around us. Well, you know, maybe you should give up. Just, you know,
For sure.
whatever they say.
For all of us, like this is, and we were talking about, I was mentioning her earlier, that my ex-girlfriend Jessica, who's now powerful, like business coach and like business partner of mine, she lives in Hawaii, like awesome human being. She did a training that was called the Universe To-Do List, which basically was the things that we can control in life, like our vibe, our energy, like, you know, if you have to go get groceries, like do all those things, like the things that we need to do. And then everything else that is like the how, when, where, who, like all these details, like the universe's side. So you have your to-do list and the universe to-do list, and fill the universe to-do list with like all that stuff that makes you anxious, that you're worried about, like all that, put it over there, and then you can release it and then get back to focusing on the things that we can do, which are, you know, they're simple. Like what can we do with what we have from where we are? Like simply focus on those, and then let the synchronicities of life fill in, and that makes it so much easier. And the reason I love collaboration like this, Kindall, is I did a live Facebook before this. Like I spoke for like an hour, just powerfully. And my intention was just to give some peace to humanity when it comes to the George Floyd situation and like what that's bringing up for humanity. And a lot of people were very upset. And I wanted to just share some powerful, you know, perspective and truth when it comes to that, because none of us have the ability to unmanifest anything, to take something that's already manifested and now all we can do is manifest what we like to see, or we can manifest more of what we don't like to see by going to put more of that energy into it, more rage, more hate, more, and that's just going to manifest more of that. So I just had some things that I always, whenever there's tragedies or things that there's a lot of collective, like, you know, just really heavy, like dense, rough energy, I always will allow people to sit in that for, you know, whatever, a day or two, let them, I'm not immediately doing my video that I knew I was going to do a video, because it's just like, it's just reminders, and whoever's attracted to it, this is another part of why the fame thing that you mentioned, I'm looking forward to more and more people, like when I'm going on live, I'm looking forward to 1 million people just popping on, because I wanted 1 million people to hear what I had to share earlier, and however many people see it and share it, who knows, like that'll be whatever it is, one person, if it impacts them, that's the whole reason that I do what I do. But what I mentioned is why I love to co-create so much and collaborate, is because if people hear the same, like, because all we're doing is in different ways with different modalities and our different life experience and perspectives, sharing who and what all of us truly are, which is a different expression of it. So I feel like if people hear it from enough different humans, like I introduce them to, or other people introduce them to, the light bulb will come on, whether it's through me or through you or through the 500th person that I've interviewed, where it's like, oh, and they're saying the same thing that we've all been saying, but it doesn't matter to me how the light bulb comes on. I just want it on so that you now add to the collective and we can all enjoy this life while we're here even more. I want the whole planet to be like lit up and doing the things that they're passionate about and creating what they want to see, manifesting what they want to see. It just sounds like a way more fun world than not, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I was going to post something today about that. And I was in LA in the middle of the Rodney King, the riots. And so, you know, this has been really affecting all of us so much. And there's a picture that my sister has of my niece when she was about 1. And she's very, very pale skin, you know, pale skin, blonde hair. And she's hugging her best friend who had been adopted, I believe, from Africa. And he's just this beautiful, dark-skinned African-American little boy. And they're just hugging each other. I could cry. And I wanted so much to post it, but it felt like it wasn't even enough, you know, to do that. So anyway, it is very tragic that happened.
I'm gonna give up. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you. You can say what you need to say.
Took it down. I go, what if people need me saying to love one another? We already know that. It's the people that don't know how to. So it's like this really interesting thing, like have your voice, and then where do we stand in not even knowing that? I don't even know how to explain it. I just didn't. I wanted to give it so much grace that I didn't want to do the wrong thing, if that makes sense, you know?
You know, if you share anything from a place of connection, it's the right thing. It's what needs to come out, and that's I'm not even going to call it right or wrong for any of us. Like, even if you're sharing from a place of rage or upset, I'm not even going to call that wrong. That's just where you're sharing from. However, just don't be surprised if that manifests more of that energy into your life or for the collective. It's just that's why I knew I had to post the live that I posted, because I just see people like they're burning down things, and it's just, you put that energy into life, you're going to manifest more of that for you. That's what your scene in the movie is going to look like, and you're putting that more of that energy into the collective, and it just, momentum continues on. So
Yeah.
here's,
I mean, mine said to love one another, but then it felt like, are people going to be like, that's not enough, But love is, I mean, that's where it's at, really.
we have to embody it. We have to be it, all of us. Like, it's a choice, because you can't vibrate for anyone else, any of us. So everybody out there, like, you can choose to be love in the moment, and it's not just saying I love you. It's, are you being it? In 2020 and beyond, we can measure frequency and energy, and so we label energy with these words called love and happy and joyful and sad. These are just labels that we're trying to use to describe frequency, energy, vibration, which now in science, like, we can measure these. So, like, are you truly embodying and being love? Are you being connected with the divine in this moment? And if you are, you can trust that all the thoughts that you have, the words that you speak, the actions that you take are going to be from that place. So what you're going to see manifest is going to be more of that energy. And then, as an even greater result, if you want to help people out there, for anybody out there, if you're being that in the moment, you're being that light, then it's because we're all mirrors for each other. That means everybody that is focusing their attention and energy on you, they're seeing themselves in you as that light. You're reminding them of who they truly are, and now they get to choose to now be who they truly are, or they can continue allowing themselves to be however they're choosing to be right now, whether it be angry, upset, rageful. Again, nothing wrong with it, but don't be surprised out there if you're choosing to live in rage and you manifest more rageful and painful situations in your life. Like, it's not a mystery. Like, this is how it's going to work for all of us forever. And so what I wanted to share with people, Kindall, and another thing when it comes to George Floyd or for anybody, because, and this is not to sound insensitive, but the only people suffering are us here in the physical. Once we leave these physical avatars and we go back into non-physical, our energy, this expression of us, this non-physical energy, this is eternal. This is eternal energy. And so energy is just going to change form. It's like walking from one door in your house into another door in your house. You're going into just a new room in your home. What that looks like, what you experience, will you come back here and play in this world? Will you go play in another dimension? Not for me to know, not really a concern of mine. I'm alive here and now. But the only ones suffering are us here in the physical form. George Floyd not suffering, anymore at all. What he experienced, when I looked at the video, like, I don't think there's any human that could look at that and be like, that's just rough to look at. Like, that, I felt what that did to my frequency there. What that did, though, for me, though, is it immediately reminded me of how much I'm excited to see us creating a world together where we do love each other, where we are being loved, where we're creating, whatever we're passionate about, creating a utopia, which I've been using that word a lot lately. When's the last time?
I agree.
When's the last time anybody's used that word out there? I encourage you to use that word and, like, build towards that, whatever that means to you. And that is the type of world that we can all cohabitate here while we're here in 2020 and beyond. And so if you want to connect with George out there, you can. There's people on this earth that their number one passion is, just like Kindall sharing with you some of her passions, there's people on this earth that their passion is mediumship and connecting people with people that have gone to connect with a medium. And you can connect with George. And George will tell you, I'm good. I'm more than good. Like, I'm doing great. So, and I just want to remind people that. And that's for everybody that we've lost.
And one thing I will say for people that are going through dealing with this tragedy and are very affected by it, and we all are. And he may very well be all good, and I hope he is, and I understand completely what you're saying. I've had some experience with death and tragedy with someone who was killed brutally, unexpectedly, and not to take this a dark turn, this is actually very positive. To pray when people don't know what to do in a situation like this, if they feel helpless, and this is actually reminding me right now, the best thing, who am I to say, but in my humble opinion, is when death comes quickly or tragically, when it was unexpected, that light, that energy, that human soul, whatever you want to call it, may be in a state of sort of confusion. And that was my experience through what I dealt with. That actually was one of the really biggest things that happened in my life that led me to this work. Was being able to pray for that spirit to be in peace, to be in acceptance, to explain what happened, to explain how they're going to be a part of a new wave of understanding and love or whatever it is, but praying for his spirit, praying for him to be in peace. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it'll help, but it can't hurt. To supposedly, from what I understand, is the spirit can feel that. When people collectively send love, light, prayer, meditation, whatever you believe in, to that transcending, to getting to that peaceful place, it helps. If you want to talk out loud, if you want to say it in your prayer, sending that love and light to him so that he has a peaceful understanding of where his soul is. Do I know if that's true? No. Do I think it might help? Yeah. And it might just help, like you said, the people that are here to know there's something they can do. If they feel like their petitions aren't being heard or their fires aren't being paid attention to, send him love directly. That we can control.
Guaranteed that help the people that are here. For sure, that will help sending love to anybody that's here or no longer here. Like anytime we're again being and like transmitting love out, that's going to help us for sure. I'm gonna give a beautiful analogy for you guys so that this gave me so much peace and understanding when it comes to death and dying and just who we truly are. I live here in the Atlantic Ocean is right here, the ocean. And if I use the ocean as the analogy of all that is, all that is the universe, like all that is. All of us are the individual waves of the ocean. So we all are different expressions of the same ocean of all that is. Again, the waves aren't comparing themselves to each other, saying, that wave is bigger than me, bluer than me, warmer than me. They just are. And that's truly who we are, just expressing the same energy of all that is. And so we come here to have our human experience. We come here on the sand, and a part of us stays here on the sand, and a part of us stays out in all that is, our non-physical energy, that connection, when we can connect with it the whole time that we're here, like we're still connected with it. And then when it's time for us to fully go back out with all that is, the part of us that soaks into the sand and stays here, stays in the dirt. That's our physical avatars. And then we return back out to all that is, where that's just love. That's just, that's all that is. And so when we do leave these physical bodies, like we're good. Like we're straight. Like we're great. We're in bliss. Like we're good. Like we don't have to worry about anyone that has gone on to be back into non-physical. The only place that we can have fears, doubts, worries, pain, suffering is in these physical avatars. And we came here to experience that. It's all part of the human experience. And what I really want to point out to all of you guys is, and if any of this stuff that I ever share resonates with you out there, like, try it on, hold it, share it. If it doesn't, leave it right where it is. It's all good. But
exactly, that's what I feel too.
Yeah, before we came into these, incarnated in these physical bodies in this life experience, me as Noel, you as Kindall, you as whoever you are out there, like our souls had an idea of what was going to go on. The people that leave here, what we would call prematurely, like leave here earlier than we would like for them to, and we're here suffering. What does that do for those of us that are still here? It's allowing our soul to evolve, because our souls came here to evolve. Like that's a big reason why we wanted to incarnate in this physical world. We could have stayed non-physical, but we're physical. We can feel, we can touch, we can create things. So we're evolving the whole time. And the painful experiences, the joyful experience, it's all part of it. And so, for any of us, like if we just allow ourselves to evolve without, I'm trying to say this, I want to say this gracefully and with as much compassion for everybody, whatever you're experiencing. And you won't hear me say anyone should or shouldn't experience life in any particular way. You're just experiencing it. But when, like, for instance, when Kobe and his daughter passed, like, super painful for me to look at, I felt like I lost a family member myself. And at the same time, what does that cause? Like, it's caused a lot of people to appreciate life more. It's caused, like, his wife and things, like they're creating foundations and different things now that wouldn't have been created. So souls are evolving when souls leave here. And this is the same thing, like it's not in vain. Like with George Floyd, like I have a really strong knowing that when George came in, his soul decided to incarnate as George Floyd. He knew he wasn't going to live to be 100 years old. Like that wasn't a part of this life experience for George Floyd. And none of us know how long we're going to be here. And when we go, it's going to allow those that are still here, that are missing us and wanting to create different things because of us, for people that incarnate when they have physical handicaps or disabilities or just any life challenges, it's allowing our souls to evolve. And that's what we wanted to do. So it might be hard for us to understand as physical humans that are still here, but just know that George is good and everybody that's crossed over and they're non-physical now, they're good. And we're going to continue to evolve. So we can ask ourselves now, what would we like to see? And that's just what I want to encourage everybody is create that, be that, embody that now, and then we can all help each other create that.
I do think that's a really healthy way to look at people that have crossed over. It's a healing way to look at it for people, and it helps people to look at it from that aspect that they kind of, not that they signed up for that life or that I've had that discussion. People think, why would I have signed up for this? A soul contract or whatever. But it's like, now they are an angel for this, or they are a teacher for that. And in some way, for their soul evolution, it can be part of what they really wanted for the world, or their gift, or whatever. And it's just a different belief to get people through. If that helps them, that's a lovely way of looking at it. I don't know exactly how this ties in, but I know today I was thinking about children, because I watched another podcast that you did where I thought it was really great that you asked people at what age, and even when they were little, when they started feeling about this work, or this kind of path, or felt in touch with that. And I started thinking about children and how much, they always say when you're a child, and it was back to that permission, asking for, we don't think how we're going to walk. We don't think how we're going to run. We know how to ask to get our needs met. There's no, should I ask for a cookie? They ask for a cookie, And I was like, what is it about children? And it's like, coming back to what you said, is they're the closest to that place on this earth, children. They were just there. Wherever that is, they were just there. And they're still carrying that with them, that spark of the divine. So we can learn so much from looking at children. So people that are watching, that are out there, that have kids, I'm sure they can see, and their children are teaching them in every moment. And to be more, have that childlike wonder, and like you said, openness in life, and going back to that, like, I am open to what's happening. I'm going to ask for what I want. I'm going to just go through life with a smile on my face and move through it moment to moment, because that's what children do. So just kind of bringing it back to that happiness of a child, and the open curiosity of exploring life in that way, with that childlike wonder that anything is really possible, and to have the open-mindedness is a great way to go about it. Like you said, you love that. Everybody has their experiences, but let's be open.
Absolutely.
To what that means.
Absolutely. Pay attention out there to kids, because they're such great teachers for us. I love looking at them in like strollers, and they're always like super present and smiling and looking around. Like, I can feel their energy, and they're always looking right at me. I can feel their energy, and like, I'm sharing love with them, they're sharing love with me. And it's that great reminder of who all of us truly are. And, to be able to get back to that and be adventurous. One last thing I want to share on the eternalness of us, because this will give people peace when it comes to why would we choose a life where we only live 5 years or 10 years? And again, endless possibilities. So, this is what feels like truth for me. So if it feels truth for you, take it with you. If it doesn't, leave it here. But because we're eternal, and what is eternal? It means, always existing. Like, we're going to continue on. So sneaky suspicion that this isn't the first time that we've incarnated in a physical body here on Earth, or at least in other dimensions. So yeah, maybe this one might not have lasted, as long. Maybe we all wanted to see, Kobe Bryant and his daughter live to be 100. I know I did. I was curious to see what they were going to create and all these things, like, for sure. So I'm like, dang, it helps us appreciate the time that we do have with people. That's for sure. But I know that that's not it for them. Like, that's it for them is as the physical version of, Kobe and, Gianna. But there's still so much more for them that they'll be able to experience. And who knows if we'll be co-creating with them, in another dimension or some other way, shape, or form down the road. And who knows if we have already up until this point. Like, not really for us to know. There are people that, again, that's their number one passion, that if you want insights on this, if you're someone that's super curious about past life, super curious about what's going to happen after, connect with them. Just put the intention out there, and they will come into your life, like, really rapidly. I mean, for me, I'm most curious and adventurous and excited about what's happening now, and what I want to see manifest from here with all of you guys. And we're all co-creators in this, and that's what gives me the most joy. Whatever gives you the most joy out there, just know that you can do it. Like, you have all this power we're talking about. That's who you are as well. So just get clear on it, and then embody that, project that, attract that, and live that. And that's what life will be. Yeah. We got some from people that have joined us on here on this live. I've seen you guys popping in. If you guys have any questions or things that you want to add to the chat, or things that you want to ask me or Kindall specifically, you can hit the little raise hand button. You can put it in the chat. I'll even bring you on if Kindall's open to that. I'll bring you on. You can ask.
I'm trying to see if I can see who else is out here. I clicked something where it was like Just us, but I want to see who else is on
you
here.
hit the participants button, and it'll
I got it.
yeah, it'll show
I
you
see
all.
all these beautiful friends.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't see their faces, but
I mean, if any,
beautiful people.
yeah, if any of you guys want to, I mean, if you want to come on camera, you can come on camera and ask questions. But or if you guys want to type in the chat box.
Hi,
Hello,
Janet.
Donna. Hold on, Donna. You have to unmute yourself.
Oh, me or my friend?
Donna.
Oh, unmute.
There she is.
I do want to say, I have to say something on a happy note. When you were saying about people that have passed, I've always said, just as many amazing people that are here on earth have already passed. We've got our Jimi Hendrix, our Marilyn Monroe, our Prince, our, Kurt Cobain's, Albert Einstein. They're all up there, and I just hope they're having a party too with Kobe, with everybody. I wish we could just all be together, but hopefully they're having a big party up there too. Concerts and basketball games and everything. So here's to hoping everyone in the world of all spirits and all dimensions are enjoying.
They definitely are. They definitely are. Hello, beautiful human, Donna.
Hello. How are you doing? Nice to meet you, Noel. I know Kindall very, very well. Dear friend.
Are you in London with that beautiful accent, or are you here in the U.S.? Where are you? Where on the planet?
I'm in New York.
Okay.
I literally, if I say I'm caught off guard, meaning I didn't plan to say anything necessarily. I was listening because I was actually putting my son down for a bit of a nap. And so I had you on, I had the volume on because it was a little bit of a last minute thing to connect or, join the conversation. And then I heard you say that no one had their video on or you could hear it. So I thought, I'll put my video on. And then you said, are you going to say something? I was like, you show my face.
No, you're good.
I did catch you guys, but, talking about... little humans in the world, the children. And as Kindall knows, I have a 2.5-year-old. He's actually, give me one sec, I'm so sorry. Okay. Sorry, my husband's working. He's trying to get me to go into another room. But he's the only one that has video calls. So anyway, so my son's coming up 3. So that's where, it kind of piqued my attention because I'm in that time right now where I get to see... this childlike wonder at its raw form. It's just there. He's inquisitive, he's open, and as someone who leads a spiritual life, I'm at that point where it's very, if I say apparent to me, where I want to nurture all of his strengths and keep him open. And now I'm kind of applying the things I've learned along my path. And I started to do that when I was pregnant, even when he was in my belly, I'm doing certain things and saying certain things. So it starts very, very early on. But I think you become super duper aware of your mortality when you have children, because all of a sudden you obviously it's a natural thing. You just want to be around more than ever. Like it's the most I've ever wanted to live. I really want to live and I want to be here more than ever. And I think it's present moment awareness, being a parent, and also your mortality, present moment awareness, and time. Children are such a marker of time. On one hand, you lose time because the days just roll into weeks and into months and into years, and then on the other hand, all of a sudden they're 10. Or they're, in my case, nearly 3. And I'm just like, where did that go? Like, it's a sudden marker of time that I didn't necessarily have pre-motherhood. I had different markers of time, like birthdays, things like that, my own birthday. But then when you suddenly see this other human growing and just even like their bodies, everything that's just changing constantly, their growth, the growth spurts in their physical form and in their emotional form and in their intelligence and all that. It's like the craziest science experiment that you're watching on a day-to-day basis ever, and it's a very beautiful thing. It really is. It gets you in touch with what it is to be human,
I love
So,
it.
Noel, do you have children?
I do not. I do not. I live vicariously through all of you guys. Maybe one day.
All the other children that you see, you said you see them as you're walking along, and they're just like in their own worlds, and like you say, they're very they're self-centered. That's all they know. It's like, this is what I need, this is what I want, and they're not afraid to ask for it, as Kindall said. Not afraid to ask for what they want, and then
you're never afraid to ask for a cookie, Donna. So you've got that done.
very true, Kindall. Thanks for that.
Okay, so I don't know how much I love what you just shared, Donna. It's such a good reminder for us just to be appreciative of life, just whether we have kids or around kids, but just using them as the examples for that, because I think kids are the greatest appreciators of life. They don't need like all this stuff. Like they could have a stick in their hand or whatever is around, and just like we having the best time. And I always I model my life after being childlike. I could share some things with you guys about kids that. So when I was in college, I didn't have any money, so I donated sperm. So to say that I don't have kids is untrue, because I do. I just haven't met them yet. However, I put with big stars and asterisks saying when they on the questionnaire when it says can they contact you when they're 18. I was like, of course, give them my cell phone number. Like I'm so excited to meet them. So this will be a very exciting phase of my life coming up probably in the next few years, but not just yet. Yeah.
It's a whole different kind of podcast then.
I know, right?
Isn't there a movie? Did you see that movie about that with Vince Vaughn?
There is a law that says they can't give your donations to that many people, but yes, that's a very good movie. I think there's a limit to like how, but there are like because I've been in touch with them for years. It was in San Diego, the fertility center. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I could have some Southern California.
Wow.
You could be doing consultations with some of my little ones, Kindall. Who knows?
Sure.
Okay, so just to be mindful of Kindall, your time, because I don't know how much you have, and I'm just like I'll have too much fun with Donna and everybody else on here. But I'll finish. There's some things that I want to ask you so that you can share, and then if you guys have questions that are on here live with us or want to talk about more things, Kindall, hang out as long as you want. I'll hang out afterwards. All good. So.
I'm good.
Appreciate you, Donna. Yeah. I'm going to go back on video screen with Kindall and I so that when I put this out, it's just the double side by side. But I'll bring you guys on camera afterwards. And nice to meet you, Donna. You're awesome. Okay. I love it. That's fun. I see I saw all the people coming on, and I was like, "There's awesome people on here with us right now." I can feel their energy.
People were a little confused, and I should have done the www Universal Abundance. I made it really simple for people, so maybe we'll be able to share this later. I think we would have had a lot more people if I was a little more clear. But I text the people that are on. I text like right before we started, and they're the ones that came. So I know you got to make it. Facebook Live will be great for you. We'll have a lot of people watch, but I should have done it a little differently. But so glad that they're here.
This will be on Spotify and iTunes and everywhere, but just not for several weeks. So the people that are on live will get to hear all this. That's why I like to do them live, because if someone takes one thing, like we mentioned earlier, that improves their life, I don't want them to have to wait like weeks for it. Like I want them to have it now. So my question for you is, like, right now we're getting ready to go into June, believe it or not, in 2020, and been a very interesting time in human experience for all of us with what's been happening in the world. And what are you excited about? Like, what are you creating for yourself, or what do you want to see in humanity, or what's exciting in Kindall's world?
Honestly, I found it really interesting that you said the word utopia, because when COVID first happened, I was on some magical plane. I mean, I'm not saying there was, terrible things happening, but as far as the magical, I was tapping into the high frequency as much as possible, doing these like 13-hour meditations, global meditations, just like getting immediately as soon as I could into that high frequency. And I kept hearing like a utopia, and then seeing that so many, one after the other, people, that are like-minded, just coming on board with that all over the world. Like, I'm sure you've been part of these global meditations where within seconds, people that know technology were doing the technology, doing the voice, doing the camera, doing it to where even people in Hollywood hadn't caught up for a month, like Jimmy Kimmel's and the Ellens and the, getting their shows on board, immediately, through this virtual vein, I guess. But these people were coming up with these things that were happening on these global media channels, Donna's husband is involved with Live by Live, which is another way they were doing this humongous concert, a global concert. I was like, oh my God. I mean, the unity that was happening so quickly, the people jumping on board to get everybody into that high frequency as soon as possible. And just the commercials we're seeing and the support that we're seeing, and just even my own personal self taking that extra minute to look at these people that do show up, these young kids that are still working, shopping at the grocery store. It's like looking at them, you can't even see them smile. They can't see you smile, but looking in their eyes and going, thank you for showing up. That's gonna start elevating us. I mean, and it's very difficult when we have these tragedies happen to stay in that high frequency, but it's in relating to one another every day that's going to help build that utopian society. I think as a child, when you said, how did you get involved? And I know in my heart, I just want world peace. And that's just been a knowing my whole life. Yes, we all want it, but how do we contribute to that? And also this new, suddenly not working, 7-8 hours a day. I fought against that 8-hour workday my whole life. It tore my family apart at one point because I'm like, I don't want that. I can't do it. I can't physically do it. And yes, maybe someday I will have to do it in that way, but it didn't feel healthy to me. I feel like people need to rest, to regroup, to meditate, to be with their family. There has to be a different way. And I think we're going to be moving into a way to somehow, hopefully, with the economy that can flourish as well, as we can still flourish as humans that are spiritual, that need fun and time to rest and time with family and time to do things that, that are also important other than work. So hopefully this is just kind of working out the kinks to how we can have a flourishing economy so people aren't worried and stressed about that and come out of this in some way with a way to live life with a little bit more of a carefree feeling, a little bit more structured that's unstructured, if that makes sense.
Kindall, I'm bubbling over here, as you might be able to see. If you ever look at me, you can just see my smile coming out. So I'm knowing me just in the short time that you've known me and what we've been talking about. I'm sure it won't come as a surprise to you as I'm asking the universe, show me how to create this utopia for us. That answers have come and have come rapidly and are already like set in motion. For those of you guys that logged on to see this podcast, the universalabundance.co/Kindle podcast, just take the Kindle podcast off and just goes directly to the Universal Abundance. And that already is created with everything you just described. Because for us to have utopia, in my opinion, is very simple. Here's all we need. Most important thing, the consciousness, the upliftment, the knowing who we truly are. Always going to be the foundation. Without that, you can have all the money in the world, all the time in the world, all the things, and still, if you're not vibrating how you on purpose, if you're not vibrating connected to the divine, if you're not vibrating on the inside how you would like to be, if you're not at peace, if you're not enjoying this life, it's all these outside things aren't going to matter, and your body's going to continue to deplete itself and deteriorate itself if you're living in stress and worry and fear. And so all of these things, it's always going to be the most important thing. It's the foundation of everything that all of us do that are out here helping people. It's helping people discover and rediscover who we truly are, to remind us what the little kids already know. What we all knew when we first came here. So that's always foundational. And then to have the abundance where we have the time, we have the money. We're not spending even 1 second of time doing anything from a place of, I have to do this because I need to create this for my life. I need to feed myself. I need to pay the bills. So how can we create to where we're no longer doing anything with our time except for what sounds fulfilling to us, what sounds fun to us, like what we want to create and what we want to manifest in this world. And so all we have to do is first uplift our consciousness, help uplift the consciousness of our brothers and sisters, of humanity in the best way that we can. We all have this technology that we're playing on right now, and we can connect so easily now. So let's just bring together as much consciousness as we can from different life experiences and perspectives, because we've all lived different lives. Maybe your perspective out there listening on this live right now, maybe you're someone that is a painter. Maybe you're a musician. Maybe you're someone that is an awesome parent. Maybe you're someone that we all have different life experiences that the rest of humanity, we don't have the same life experience as you. And we look back to how we used to live when we were in tribes, where if you could go out and catch fish, that's what you did for the tribe because we needed to eat. If you were good at keeping the fire going, or if you're really strong and you can hold lots of logs and wood so that we can build the fire, or if you were good at keeping the saber-tooth tigers out of the community, that's what you did so that we could actually survive. So bringing that into the 2020 version, we all have those things that just through life experience that we can share if we feel called to. And if we bring those together and we're like, wow, this is valuable, and we help each other with conversations like this, and we bring consciousness together and we bring each other, we're not so separate and thinking on what we can do individually, that's the most valuable resource that we can create. And then we can monetize it in a way to where we can have the abundance of not only money, but also time, where we're no longer putting in time for going to work for that because we've got to go add more value. We got to go add more value because we're so individual. If we just create something valuable, then we just bring the abundance to it, and it comes in as much as we want it to, every month, every year, every day. Whatever it is that you need to go create, whatever it is that you want to create, this is already done. Like, this is universal abundance. This is why it's created. So I encourage everybody out there, if you haven't seen it, go look at it, because this is what we're doing, and everyone on the planet is invited. And it's just asking questions to the universe. How can we create something where we can all come together and give whatever it is that we're inspired to give, so that we make something so valuable that everybody can thrive? So I'm happy that you've seen that.
I definitely think you tapped into that, as like we are kind of individually responsible for, first we've got to get happy, and then it kind of trickles out. It's if we're in that vibration of we're doing what we love. I've been doing virtual, if anybody's interested, I don't know if you mind me saying, but I am doing virtual Reiki readings, life coaching, virtually through FaceTime. And I had a client, and before, like I said, I do the work beforehand. So I'm already in there sort of meditating on energy, and my shoulders started hurting. So when I saw her, I said, "Is your shoulder hurting you?" And she was like, "Yeah, my left shoulder." And I said, "Well, in IET, which is integrated energy therapy, that goes through body parts and where we hold certain things. Our hips hold fear. Our, behind here we hold guilt. We have trust, different heart rate. And then I replace that energy with unconditional love. With in here in your shoulders, you hold your shoulds, what I should do, what I shouldn't do. That feeling of I have to, the weight of the world on your shoulders. So when we're like, well, how do I go about living my best life? How do I? Of course, I want to do that job as an actor or painter, whatever. I think it's how we're approaching it. If we're approaching it from, I should go get my new headshots, or I should apply to, I should. If it's feeling like a should energy, maybe that's not 100. You may still want to be an actor, but maybe going to get headshots right now or whatever it is, that's not the feeling that's going to light you up. You gotta shift to that thing that lights you up. Like, I'd love to go do a class though. That would really, and that will lead to maybe the photography. So if somebody's looking for, well, how do we make that shift? Or a lot of people are going to be looking for new jobs, and myself included. Really monitor, where are you feeling I should redo my resume? I should go apply. Maybe don't go that route. Maybe, what would you love to do? Well, I'd love to go do that, and investigate how you can do that. So if we're really going into our love and following what we really would love to do, and then, like you say, kind of giving it over to the universe, hopefully we're going to all start from there. And there's certain things that are out of our control, but that's just a little place to start. Because I know some people just don't even know where to begin to make that shift,
Absolutely.
Especially when it starts with us.
And what if we could do all those things like acting and, whatever it is that you're drawn to do out there, whatever you're passionate about,
whatever.
What if we could do all those things and not even need the money for it? Like, what if we could do the things that we love and not need the money for it? Like, what if life switches back to where, like, they weren't doing things when they were in tribes for money. They were doing things so that, because they were drawn to doing it, and they could help the tribe. Like, it wasn't about, I'm doing this because I need this type of result. Like, when we can make that shift, then everybody can be doing what they love, and the world evolves rapidly, because there's those of you out there that want to see the environment change, but you don't want to have to like do you have another job that's paying you to where it's like you're not going to get like an environmental job right now, but you want to spend your time working in the environment. So if we can get the money part, the time part, the abundance part, the consciousness part, get that taken care of, now you're just doing things because you want to do them, not because you need a result from it. And things shift much differently that way. You know what I mean?
And I also think that collaboration like this is another place for it to begin, where we can do trades. Hey, I'll take your headshots if you'll do a healing from here. Where can we help one another? Like you said, going out, and some people would kill the boar, and then some people would do, I don't eat meat, but we're talking about cavemen. But I'm going to go hunt get the berries. I'm going to have the children. What can we do now? What can we offer to trade people? Hey, I'll come do this for you. You can do and collaborating too collectively and having these conversations where where things, like you said, can just happen where there isn't money, where it's a little bit of a barter or trade system. And I think that that's starting to really happen, especially now. These connections are happening through this virtual realm, which is great too.
I'm just going to plant this last seed with everybody because you have me so inspired, Kindall. All that money is just these days, it's just numbers on a computer screen. So when we create things together that are valuable because we're helping each other, we decide what that number on the computer screen is, and then we share that number, whatever everybody in the community needs, and we share it because we've created something that's priceless. When we're uplifting each other's consciousness, that's priceless. That's why coaches can charge $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $25,000 for a mastermind. These are things happening already on the planet. It's just a matter of what's more valuable, that one human perspective or the perspective of a collaboration, a co-creation of tons of people that have all different life experiences. Now we call that valuable and whatever we call it. And now everybody has abundance, money, time, everything. And now you just focus on the things that you love. So this sounds foreign because this doesn't exist on what didn't exist until I asked it to exist and started creating with lots of other humans. This is why I collaborate so much. Like, you guys will see me now that we know each other exists. You'll be like, damn, Noelle's collaborating with people all the time. It's not just because I like having fun conversations, which I do. It's just adding. I want the light bulb to come on, and it might not come on because of me. It's going to come on because of you, Kindall, and other people, and just people might need to hear it. The same thing said from the 500th person, and now they got it. So that's what I'm most curious about, or excited about. Thank you, Kalina. So inspiring and uplifting. Mahalo. Assuming you're out in Hawaii, that Hawaiian energy. I love it. I love Hawaii vibes.
She's in LA, but she's Hawaiian. She loves Hawaii. She's all about Hawaii. Hawaii love.
I love it. Anytime I get vibration. So I've been talking to you for a long time, and I didn't ask you how long you had. So
no, it's great. I'd love to connect. If anybody have any questions, or I'm on Instagram at Reiki Works LA, at Reiki Works LA. Love to connect with people, and just starting that Instagram. I have a different Instagram, but really, social media has become the new thing, the new go-to, even for healers, which is so interesting. But I think it is really important to connect and answer questions when people have them, or be there for them. This is mental health awareness time too. So a lot of people need support, and I'm here and you're here, and any way that we can help one another get through this and get through life in the most positive, loving way.
I love it. And you mentioned it, but I'm going to let you just say anything else, because I always will ask if there's things you want to share with the audience that they could participate in with you. You mentioned Reiki healing, distance healing, and anything else that you want to share with the audience.
Like I said, if I have a client, I'll spend about a session with me. They can do just Reiki if they just want the energy work, but I've never had a client ask for just not just Reiki's beautiful in and of itself, but they really do appreciate the whole all-encompassing session, where it would be where I spend about an hour and a half just focusing on their energy with my journal, and I just start writing everything. Like I said, it's almost like minority report for me. I just start seeing their energy almost on a screen, and I go, okay, that's going on. This, okay, I see their life just sort of flashes before my eyes. It's almost like this meditation, like a montage of a movie, and then I just write everything down that I think will help them to be aware of. And then I use oracle cards and now tarot cards. I said I'm incorporating tarot as I'm learning it. I have a great respect for that modality, so I'm still learning, but it's been helping me to be even more specific with date times. So I look at all those cards, I lay them all out like a story that it just explains even more to me, and it kind of puts the exclamation point on things that I've written down. Sorry about that phone, it's going to go off. I don't know if I should just hang it up.
You got a real phone still. It's taking us back. Taking us back. For those of you guys that are on here live with us, if you have any questions, you can put them in the... Go ahead, keep going.
So I was just going to say, so I do that part of it. I have all the cards. So then when the person who comes in, I have this information, and I'll say, is there anything you want to ask me? Or because usually if someone's going for a reading, they have all these questions, and then the person will just read the cards. I'll say, I have this information for you. Is there anything you want to ask me? Inevitably, 100% of the time, no, you just talk. So I'll say everything that I've written down, and I'll talk to them about it. I'll show them all the cards. This is what is going on. This is what I see. Does anything resonate? It always resonates. And then we get into a conversation about how we can sort of rework things to make their life better, and whether it's a relationship, whether it's health. I used to volunteer with the USC Cancer Institute. I mean, I've worked with horses. You name it, I've worked with it. From doctors, I've worked with doctors. I've worked with actors that want to be on the red carpet. People that want to have babies. I've just help people get what they want. You want to have a child? This is what's in your way. Let's make it happen. You want to get on the red carpet? Let's make it happen. And it just does. And it's just, that's so exciting for me. I love it. It's the most fulfilling thing in the world for me to see people's joy happen. And so then after we have this about an hour conversation, then I do the energy healing work for them. And that just is, to me, that's works on the subtle realms. It works on the auric field. It works with their subconscious. So, they have this toolbox that they can walk away with that they've now discussed, and they become aware of these things, the shifts they should make, recommendations I may have on a book, a mantra, a meditation, you name it. If I feel it, I'll just say, this is a song. You need to listen to the lyrics. It can be as interesting as that. And then from there, I just feel like the energy work helps them to just not have to do everything. And it's not like they have to do anything. It just works on that subtle realms to make them feel at peace, for synchronicities to happen, for the energetic blocks to just sort of start to dissolve. It helps with stress, release, trauma, dis-ease, anxiety, depression, addiction, and it just day-to-day stresses. And, I've seen people's just faces start to glow again after it. So it's just a very all-encompassing session. So if that resonates with them and you want, or they think they would be interested, I'm at, like I said, Reiki Works LA, and I'm sure see it on your site, and they can DM me, and I'm more than happy to do a virtual session. And now I have sound bowls. So I do the sound healing as well, and I do that at the end. I'll play a session for them. Personally working on the bowls are tuned to different chakras. So if there's a chakra I feel is out of balance, we'll use that bowl even more and focus on that, releasing that, whether it's, security they need, which would be a root chakra, or speaking from their truth, that would be the third chakra. So we just really work on whatever is very personal or individual for people on their path.
I love it. And you just reminded me how I discovered you, because I was searching for on Instagram sound healers, because I just had an inspiration. This is how I flow. I'll be inspired to talk to certain types of people. I'm like, I wonder what awesome sound healers are out there. And then there you popped up, and then you had a voice message from me within seconds. So that just reminded me.
Thing of collaboration too. I had a girlfriend of mine, Ozzy. She's just the most supportive human, and we all really need our support system. Mine is on here right now, these lovely people. We do need that support system. And she said, hey, bring your sound bowls out to the poppy fields when you go. She's in PR, I didn't even think of that. I wouldn't even have thought of that. And that photo brought me to you, because my friend cared enough about my business to say, hey, do this thing. And so it's like our contributions to one another are so vitally important. If she had never said that, I never would have met you. And maybe there's something I said or you said today that's going to help someone's life. Or transcend, or who knows how much. And so that's how really working with one another. And then Sound Bath World saw that picture and posted it, and they have 100,000, or how many thousands of followers they have, So my little Instagram that I just started, I've been doing this since 2007, but I'm just now getting into the social media. We're helping one another, for you to come find me because I held my bowl, because a friend it's just so important to really support one another's passions and be there for one another and say, hey, I support you, So
I love it. Awesome. You just highlighted so many synchronicities, so many angles, and 100%. This conversation has been so powerful. So I know that it will be impactful for those that will listen to it in days, weeks, months, years to come. So this is awesome. You guys definitely connect with Kindall on social media for sure. You guys will see links here, and then connect with her for all the healing that she just described, all the different modalities that she's doing. Like any of those things, like even spark a spark of curiosity. Just a great next step on our journey. There's some life experience there, some new clarity that will help you on your journey. Like that is if you're feeling any type of curiosity or adventure of it, highly recommend, because it's just a part of the path that will be a great next step on your journey. So one question for you. Can I ask you a question, Kindall, from the audience?
Yeah.
Anna, who I did a workshop with yesterday on human design, which was awesome. Hello, Anna. She just asked if you could describe your process for doing a remote session. How is it different from what she just described doing it in person?
What I described, or who she described?
Just know how. What? How is your remote session different from what you're doing in person?
Well, that's a really great question, because I've had my clients will still have been asking to see me, and I've been really strict with the safe at home and social distancing. So I've been doing it via FaceTime. So I'll do the reading part, like the channel part, the book, the part that I write down, and the discussion part is pretty much the same because we're just doing it via FaceTime and we're talking, I can see them, they can see me. The cards, I can show them, the cards I spread out. If there's a specific card I want to talk to, I'll show them in the camera. This is the card we're relating to right now. So that part is FaceTime. And then the virtual part, which I only have one client say, I don't know if I really feel like the energy work will work over the phone or, whatever. But it is energy. And just the way we're seeing I can see you clearly. You are not in the room, but I can see you. There's how they thought of, the waves that we can hear each other or see each other. I can't explain it to you, but it's the same with the Reiki, and I had to say, distance healing is part of the Reiki modality. They have been teaching that since the 20th century. I did not create this so that I can continue my business during COVID. This is something that's ingrained in the healing. There is a specific symbol that we are attuned to in Reiki for distance healing. So I channel into that distance healing symbol. I use that symbol. I have the client send me a full body picture. So when we're done with the face part of it, I have a picture of them on the phone, and then I set that next to where I have them list. They inevitably want to hear the music that I have. I say you can choose your music because we hang up from the FaceTime, so they don't have to worry anybody's looking at them or I'm looking at them. And it's just they can hear the music that I use, and then hear the sound bowls that I play after I do the Reiki. And I just set the phone up so I can see their picture, and I just send with the intention to send that energy to them. And then after they can hear the symbols and they're relaxing in their own bed, they can light candles, they can be in the bathtub, they can be on their couch, they can sit in a chair, whatever they want to do in the comfort of their home. And which actually takes a load off for them. They don't have to drive anywhere. They don't have to get dressed to come somewhere. They don't have to be in traffic. Everything's from home. And then I've asked them, because I always need to be in my integrity. And if they don't feel the energy healing is working, I would not continue doing this until this COVID is over. It's not right. It's not fair. So I would say, how is it for you? Does this work virtually? And every single one has said it felt like you were in the room, totally 100% the same. The sound bath is amazing. I mean, everybody is really getting 100% of that energy. And that's another level of it. It's so exciting that we could really send people loving energy and they will feel it. They feel it. It's just, the proof is in the pudding, you know what I mean? And that's so exciting to know there's just another level of this, that we could send love and energy. And when we're doing these meditations and these global meditations, something's happening. It's not for naught, if that's the saying, or it's not all for, whatever that saying is. It's working. So I don't know if that answered the question. I hope so.
I did. I'm sure it did. That's a beautiful explanation. And that is an exciting part of life. I'm very excited that I'm sending love to you, Kindall, and to you guys in the audience, and to you guys that are hearing this when this is out on Spotify and iTunes, and to those that guys are listening to this 50 years from now, because we're still here thriving, all of us, and just appreciate all of you guys. And if anybody else has any questions, I'm gonna wrap the podcast section of this up, because we're gonna give Kindall back her day. Thank you for sharing all of your love and light and energy with us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
This has been so much fun.
And to everyone listening, really appreciate your time.
Yeah, you guys. I mean, you guys that are on here with us, I could feel your energy as you guys were popping on. It was making me more excited to flow with all you guys. So we're all co-creators in this. Like, we're all co-stars. We're all the producers, directors, co-creators, co-stars in this movie called Life. And I'm just excited to be participating with all of you out there, and share this episode. It'll be very, very valuable. If you guys are watching with me on Facebook right now or YouTube, just hit the share button. You can impact, one person, super easy to do, and you can make an impact on one other person. It'll be so awesome for them. And thank you guys that have been rating and reviewing the podcast. iTunes, it's making it easier for people to find this, and that's what it's all about. It's just, if you can help one person discover something that will uplift them that otherwise they wouldn't have discovered, just like your friend Kindall, who encouraged you to go out there with the sound bowl. Like, an awesome story how all that set up. Like, literally found Kindall because of searching on Instagram for sound healing. The only reason. And she popped up. So I love that so much. Well, you guys out there, appreciate you all. Sending you so many positive, happy, healthy, abundant vibes until we connect again. And I'll talk to you guys soon whenever you're hearing this. You guys are awesome. I love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
So much fun. Awesome. Well, I guess nobody else has any questions on there, or Kindall, I don't know if you have to go or what's your deal, but if anybody has any other things that they want to bring to light, I'm happy, but I appreciate you. I'll name you by names: Donna, Jim, Kalina. Appreciate you guys. Anna, I love you guys. Yes. Awesome. Los Angelesian from Hawaii. Appreciate you. Hawaii is a hub of what I'm doing right now in life. One of the hubs for Universal Abundance, along with Bali and Costa Rica and lots of other beautiful, energetic places.
That's awesome. I love Bali. I want to get back. Costa Rica too. Beautiful places, beautiful people.
I chose in the U.S. If I'm going to be in the U.S., I chose what's the most tropical place, in my opinion, where I feel is the most tropical.
Miami.
Yeah. So.
For sure.
All right. Well, appreciate you guys and.
Thank you.
Namaste. Appreciate you, Donna.
Namaste, Donna.
Yeah. This is our first co-creation, Kindall, not the last for sure. There will be other things that I reach out to say. Yeah, other workshops, just things that I will for sure, because I already know what energy you're going to come with, and it'd be cool to do some more sound healing stuff, and because my vision.
I really want to. I have some ideas, so I really want to put that out there in the world more and more. Yeah.
So you said you do your stuff on FaceTime, which means you can't record it. How come you don't do it on Zoom so you can record and have?
Just so that I'm new to this whole Zoom thing, so maybe I will. My clients have asked me to do that. So, like I said, I was even shy to come do this, which is crazy because I'm an actress, but can't be shy. Gotta put it all out there.
I could sense your well, just because of your newness to the technology, I could sense your shyness at the beginning. That's why I always will say to all of you guys that it's just going to be a really fun conversation that flows wherever it flows. So there's nothing that needs to be prepared for, because whatever's going to flow out of you is going to be what it flows out. So a lot of people, and not that this is your first podcast, but a lot of people that I've done podcasts with, it's their first one, so they're super nervous. So I'm just attracted to their energy. For me, that's all that matters. I can sense your energy, and within seconds, you have an invitation from me. So
awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, well, I'm excited to now know that you exist on this planet, and thank you for all that you're doing for humanity.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Super cool.
Yeah. All right, you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.
Got it? Okay. Bye.